Sorry, I was still on mute. Okay, I think we're okay to go ahead and get started. So good afternoon and welcome to the CCSQ Data and Analytics Town Hall. For those of you who are new, these calls are designed to provide you with updates, announcements, and training demos related to the CDR, SAS Viya, Databricks, and more. So before we get started with our presentations, let's just go over a couple administrative reminders. Please remember to stay muted during our call to minimize interruptions. Please use our Zoom chat feature to ask any questions to be answered. And then if time allows, we will have a Q&A portion at the end of our call. If we do run out of time or there are any questions that we're unable to answer at the time or maybe need more follow-up, we'll be sure to get those to our team. And then all meeting materials, including that published Q&A, will be made available in the CCSQ DNA portal after our call wraps up. Just a reminder to give us a little bit of time to turn those materials around to make sure they're 508 compliant and accessible for all. So with that, let's go over today's agenda. So our first presentation today will be creating a personalized all-purpose compute cluster in Databricks. Next, we'll have satisfaction survey review. Then introducing SAS to Pi code conversion tool. And then finally, we'll close out today with an interactive training session demo, Spark table transformations with SQL, Python, and R. And then, like I said, if time allows, we will have a Q&A portion at the end, but because we do have a packed agenda today, we are gonna go ahead and kick things off. So at this point, I'm gonna be passing things over to Chris and Tommy for our first presentation.
Awesome. Thanks, Julia. So hi, for those I haven't met, I'm a product owner on the DNA team, primarily focused on our administration and development of Databricks. And so on our journey to Unity Catalog, which we are well on the way for, we're excited to talk to you a little bit about an upcoming feature to allow you to create a personalized all-purpose compute cluster in Databricks. So next slide. So as we're, of course, building towards delivery of the Unity catalog and working towards our vision of personalized compute, we will be migrating to something called single user all-purpose compute clusters or personalized all-purpose compute clusters. What that means is that your shared all-purpose compute cluster will go away, but you'll be able to create your own all-purpose compute cluster for a more personalized compute experience. That enhancement will allow you, greater dedicated compute power for yourself so that you're not sharing resources with others in your organization. And ultimately, that means faster runtimes and less wait for those larger exploration and code writing tasks. We will provide an overlap period where both the shared clusters and the all-purpose or the personalized clusters are available so that the user community, you all can get comfortable with the new capability and explore those new clusters. As always, please do remember to use job clusters for those more intensive jobs, right? The all-purpose compute is more for your exploration and code writing tasks. And in the materials here, I've linked a knowledge base article about how to use those job clusters if you need a refresher. So with that, I will hand it over to Tommy, who is going to show you all what this looks like.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tommy Mason. I'm a senior software engineer here and mainly work with the Databricks platform. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So like Chris said, we're migrating to more of a to the Unity catalog as our meta store, but also to more of a self-service model and having the user community be able to create your own compute clusters that relying on us to create and manage them for y'all will be a big step in that direction. And that's what we're here to really, what I'm going to be showing you how you guys will be able to do this once it becomes available to you. The big difference here is that we won't have to create these for you anymore. We won't manage them for you in any direct way. It will be up to you guys to create and destroy them within some boundaries. The overall configurations we still will set, but there will be some flexibility within those configurations, some room for you guys to really set the what you want your compute cluster to look like. And I think the biggest one of the biggest wins out of that will be you all will be able to install packages on your clusters permanently and not ephemerally through a notebook anymore. So you won't have to be always doing your pip installs from your notebook, which is a big win, in my opinion. So to essentially create one of these clusters, what you would end up doing is you'd come over to the compute tab, and then under this all-purpose compute tab, you can click this create compute button. You under this policy tab, you'll only have the number of policies, compute policies that you are assigned based on your organization. Since I'm an admin, more pops up. But if we were to select, say, QDAS, right, we can click this and say, okay. Now, this shows you all the options you have that are available for you to configure. You are in single user access mode, meaning that this cluster is only going to be for the user that is selected here. That's going to be yourself. So you can't share that cluster with users, right, with other users, but that does dedicate all of the power to only you, which will help the performance of your code, which is always nice. You'll be able to select your Databricks runtime. Currently, these are the 3 that we have available for y'all. And you can specify your worker type. So this is the size of your worker, and then the size of your driver as well. You can do things such as creating some tags here if you're interested to do that. These are good for tracking things if for whatever reason you'll need to track certain aspects of your compute clusters. You can add them here and then use a combination of some SQL queries and dashboards to kind of visualize whatever you need to track for whatever reason. This is all controlled through something called a policy, like I said before. This is very similar to the job policies. The distinction is the job policies are restricted to only jobs, and these compute policies are restricted to only all-purpose compute policies. Back to the single user access mode. All 4 languages supported in Databricks, so Python, SQL, Scala, and R are available and are compatible with this user access mode. And single user access mode is also compatible with Unity Catalog when that rolls out. So we won't need to change that at all, which is awesome. Let's go ahead and create one of these. And so to show here what you'll end up seeing, you can change the name of the cluster if you desire. But I think the part we can really show here is that you be able to come to libraries and then install your own library, PyPy, whether it's a Maven for something like Scala, some Python packages are in here, but also your CRAN packages for your R, the R code users. So this is the big thing I think everyone will really end up enjoying, is that they'll be able to do this and won't have to put in a request for to help desk for these packages to be installed. I think that's all I've got. So I'll hand it back over to you.
Hey, Tommy, there was a question in the chat about the currently pre-existing packages like pandas. Are those going to be native, like default installed, or will they need to add that to the list?
I don't have the list of packages that are default installed by the Databricks runtime, but I believe pandas is one of them. So they should become pre-installed.
Okay.
Okay, so I think at this point we are okay to move to our next topic, which is the satisfaction survey review with Miriam.
Yes, sorry. Okay, my video button. It was hiding. Yes, if you could go to the next slide, please. Okay, so these are our November satisfaction results. You'll notice a couple small changes, particularly with this first box. Previously, we had this question as a single question, how the system as a whole was performing. As we are getting more on Databricks and migrating from SAS Viya, we wanted to make sure, in order to know which system might need some more attention, we've broken it apart into two. So 55% of the responses that we got back indicated that there's satisfaction with the performance and uptime with SAS Viya specifically, and then 73% satisfaction with Databricks performance and uptime. So just going forward, it'll be two separate questions just to make sure we can focus on which tool needs maybe some support. The second box covers our help desk support. We had 87% of our responses that were satisfied with the help desk support. This was a 9% increase from October out of 11 responses. And then the last question that we have was around the resources available in the CCSQ data and analytics portal. We had 64% satisfaction, which was the decrease by 36% from October, again, with those 11 responses. Let's see. Also, just as a reminder that we do have a new feedback section within the data and analytics portal where you can submit feedback anytime you want, including if you have resources that you would like us to get published out there. You can utilize the feedback section to provide that information. We will see it and respond to it and make sure we get that information out for you as quickly as possible. Next slide, please. So just covering some positive praise and feedback that we received. One was around Databricks is great, much faster than SAS and very easy to use, especially with the AI assistant. AI assistants like the training wheels, which provide immediate assistance until you no longer need it. The training wheels analogy is great. So if you haven't used the AI assistant yet, please feel free to go out there and use it and see if it can help. And then our other quote that we have up here is the actual support features are getting much better. There are a few self-service type things that are still visibly unstable or unusable, mostly the data catalog and several other training material things that are lacking. Again, we do have that feedback section. Please feel free to utilize that so that we can get the material that is lacking out there for the community to access. Also, we do have the CCSQ data and analytics Slack channel that we would like to promote as the forum. So if there's questions that you would like collaboration on, if it's help desk questions, please continue to use the SOS help desk channel, but the data and analytics collaboration channel can be utilized as well. And then next slide, please. So some suggestions and improvements that we received, improving some of the self-service things, and with the less need of immediate support. We are driving towards providing more self-service functionality. So more to come soon with that as we are iterating and providing more functionality within the system. And then the other one, just calling out helpful for the link to the Databricks SAS FAQ in the help Slack channel. We do, so again, with the CCSQ, I want to make sure I give you guys the right one, CCSQ _data_analytics channel. Again, we would like this to become more of a forum where we can all collaborate together, but we do have that SAS resource page bookmarked there. We can look at posting it in the Slack channel or the help Slack channel as well. Additionally, we did do an enhancement to the portal homepage with a direct link to the SAS resources page that has the Q&A, that has the office hours that we've posted, all the various types of sessions that we've hosted for the SAS transition. It should hopefully be a bit easier to find now. And I think the next slide is probably the survey. Yep. So as always, we do appreciate your feedback. It helps us grow and improve and make sure we're providing the right content information to the community to help you guys in your day-to-day. So if any of those options that I've covered already are you haven't seen yet, go please check them out so that you can see what we have available. But then also, if you could fill out the survey that's coming for this, we do appreciate your feedback on that.
Thanks, Miriam. Okay, so next slide then, just a couple of reminders. So we are administering our survey today via Zoom rather than SurveyMonkey. So this survey helps us know how we can improve your experience within the CCSQ data and analytics environment and community. The results are used to improve tools, trainings, and offerings. As Miriam said, if like it's very important that you're giving us your feedback. That way we can continue to improve and know what things are going well. So please only submit a survey though if you are a user within our environment. So in a moment, the Zoom poll will pop up on your screen. You're going to have 5 minutes to answer these questions. Please just make sure to scroll down to see all of the questions and complete the ones relevant to you. There are a couple that are going to ask for feedback in like an open response. And if they don't apply to you, there's a little message that says just answer NA. So please make sure to do that. And then hit submit to lock in your answers. As a reminder, the survey is anonymous, but if you do have any questions or feedback where you need us to contact you, please make sure to provide your contact information because it will not be there automatically. That way we can follow up with support where needed. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start the poll. Okay, it should be up on your screen at this point. And then I'll pop in every couple of minutes just to give updates and reminders on time. Thanks. We're about a minute into our poll. Just a reminder, you have about 4 minutes left. It's been 2.5 minutes at this point. We are about halfway through our survey time. We have about 1 minute remaining in our survey time. Take 10 more seconds to finish up, please. Okay, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone who did respond and submit a survey. So next I'm going to be passing things over to Ashley for introducing SAS to Pi code conversion tool.
Great, thanks, Julia. Hi, everyone. My name is Ashley Miller. I'm a solutions architect on the AIM team. And within the AIM project, we have actually introduced the SAS to Pi tool that I'll be talking about today. So with me today are several members of our SAS to Pi team, our SAS migration team, that are well-versed in SAS and Python and PySpark. And so they'll be watching the chat. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat and they'll pick those questions up. And then after the fact, feel free to reach out to us as well. And I'll be talking a little, I have some slides where I'll be talking about how to access some of the SAS to Pi resources. Next slide. So what is SAS to Pi? So SAS to Pi is a developer's tool to help with SAS migration. And the first two bullets here are really the core functionality of SAS to Pi, automated analysis and automated conversion. With automated analysis, we're going to do a detailed analysis of your SAS code that you've uploaded to the tool. And we're going to give you information about, what type of procs are in use by your SAS code, what data flow exists in your SAS modules, what are your data sources, your data sinks, the data that flows between different SAS modules. So a very detailed analysis of your SAS code. So you get some visibility into your SAS code. And then automated conversion. So this truly is a push button conversion to take your SAS code and convert it into Python and most likely PySpark. There's a couple of options, but most likely PySpark. And then you can take that over to the Databricks environment for execution. There's also an AI assistant called Merlin that's built into the tool as well. And you can use Merlin to ask questions about your existing code, ask questions about Python libraries and how they're used. It will give you explanations of code. You can highlight code blocks and it'll give you explanations of code as well. So a very neat tool for, again, better understanding your code. Next slide. So how do you access SAS to Pi? If you go to the Data and Analytics portal and then log in to my portal, that's where you'll actually see the SAS to Pi tool. This is the easiest way to access it. If you have the SAS Viya role already, then you have access to SAS to Pi automatically. Next slide. So when you log into my portal under the DNA site, this is what you'll see. Now, on my screen here, you see the SAS to Pi tool. It's grayed out and under the block available tools. For you, it will show up as SAS to Pi in your actual toolbox under My Tools, and that's when you can click SAS to Pi, and it will take you directly to the tool. You're logged in to CMS at this point. You've logged in with HARP Okta, and it'll take you directly to the SAS to Pi tool there. Next slide. You can find more detailed information under the trainings menu in the DNA portal. So when you pull down this menu, just go over to SAS to Pi, and that's where you'll see several things, like there's a video there for that was done on a previous, I believe previous, not town hall, but data camp. So you'll see a video there where we actually do a demo of the tool. That's I think about 45 minutes long. And then you'll see a lot of other PDF documents that are resources for you as well in the training side. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we're here, the SAS to Pi team is here for you to reach out to as well. And we can help you on your SAS migration. Next slide. So this is just some of the supported SAS procs that we will take these procs and convert them into Python and PySpark. So some of the ones that we've actually been working with recently are proc transpose, proc frequency, proc freq. One that's not on here is Glimix that we've been doing some work with as well. But you can see these are some of the procs that the SAS to Pi tool supports, and many others as well. And I'm going to show you how to do that conversion in an upcoming slide. Next slide. So I mentioned the analysis of your SAS code, and this is the metrics screen. So what we're actually showing here is, in this particular pie chart, is what is the breakdown of the different, of the number of procs within your SAS code. And when I say SAS code, it could be a single SAS file, or it could be a folder with multiple SAS modules in it as well. So you can see that in this particular one, and I don't know which project this specifically is, but 58.6% of the procs are data step, and 3.5% of the procs are proc frequency. So these are some of the metrics that you get. A screenshot I didn't do is, which is really cool, is the data flow. So it actually shows the data that's flowed through all your different SAS modules as well. So you really get a good understanding at an abstracted level of the data flow and connectivity between your different SAS modules. Next slide. So here's where you actually can go and analyze and convert a file. So what you're going to do is upload to the SAS to Pi tool. You're going to upload your SAS code, and then you're going to navigate to, in this case, on the far left-hand side, you can see the converter menu. So we're going to go to the converter menu, select a file, and you can right-click, actually click the hamburger stack and select Analyze File. This is what's going to start the analysis process. And this could be a folder as well if you wanted to analyze an entire folder. Let's say that you uploaded 50 SAS files. You don't have to go through each one individually. You can actually start the analysis on a folder, and it will analyze all the files within that folder. So that first menu item is Analyze. And then the second one is the conversion. So you're going to click the hamburger menu and select Convert File To, and you can see some of the different options here. PySpark, Pandas, Snowpark, Snowflake. Databricks down at the bottom is most likely what you will be using. You'll be converting to Databricks. And you might ask, why are we why do we generate different code for different environments? Well, if you pick PySpark, you're going to get very generic PySpark that you could take and run just about anywhere. If you pick Databricks, then we're going to make use of some of the Databricks specific implementation of their PySpark execution environment. So this is actually how you analyze and convert a file. Next slide. So when you go over to that resources page that we showed earlier, there is an FAQ there as well. We're going to be updating that FAQ, but here's just a couple of other points to note. When you select a conversion operation, it's actually launched in the background, and it can take several minutes to complete. So don't anticipate, you're going to click convert and then instantly all your code is going to be there. This is an asynchronous task run in the background, and it may take a few minutes to complete. But you will see the resulting .py files. We will also generate notebooks, Jupyter notebooks, so IPYMB files as well. So just note that this conversion is running in the background, and how long it takes to complete really depends on many factors: how many files you have that you're converting, how many active users are on the system at any one time. That will all impact your that conversion time. The next two bullets is just about naming conventions. So what we found working with different users is that if you follow these conventions, they'll be less likely of an issue when actually running analyze or convert. So when you create a project, your project name should not contain any spaces. And for file and folder names, use lowercase letters, numbers, underscores, and hyphens, and avoid special characters. If you need to, rename your files before you upload them into the SAS to Pi environment. And next slide, I think that was the last slide, but I did want to give you just a quick update on some of the use of SAS to Pi. So currently, there are over 80 users that have created accounts in SAS to Pi or logged into SAS to Pi and created projects. There's over 50 projects out there. So we are starting, this was just launched back on January 6th. So we are starting to see the use of the tool ramp up. And like I said, we have a dedicated team of SAS migration experts here to help you as well. So if you ever have any questions, be sure and reach out to us. We are also connected with ServiceNow. So if you have SAS to Pi questions or issues, you can create a ServiceNow ticket, and we're monitoring those tickets, and we'll get back to you there as well. And back to you, Julia. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much, Ashley. Okay, so next we are going to be passing things over to Dan for an interactive training session demo.
All right, thank you, Julia. So one of the things I'm part of what we call the user services team. One of our primary focuses has been on training material, trying to help people to transition from SAS to Databricks, but also the new team, the new organizations that are starting to just getting into Databricks and our CDR environment. So one way that we do this is through, we've had office hours in the past, and we've have a number of training presentations. And one of the newer things that we implemented this past quarter was the idea of an interactive session. And if I will go ahead and share my screen now. So let's talk about what are interactive sessions. I think that any of you who have been to the office hours or even lunch and learns may realize that because of the breadth of our audience and the time frame that we're working with, we don't get to interact as much, and there's not as much like hands-on work amongst each other. So I like to consider this something similar to like a lab course you may have taken in college, right? Where one member of the team creates the content and leads a session in Zoom. And then the rest of us are there to help answer any questions you may have about these particular use cases. Usually we'll try to take multiple, topics from multiple office hours or multiple training sessions and put together these problem sets that you can work on. Each session has sufficient questions to last at least 25 minutes of work. Usually in my case, it's taken even longer sometimes. But the intention is to have an environment for users to work on standard data or code problems with the dedicated support of our QDAS staff. Additionally, this is also a time to meet other users and discover that you're not alone in your struggles. Usually we do restrict the sizes on this because we do want it to be more interactive. And so I think we usually restrict it to about 25 or 30 participants. But based on demand, we can recycle these or continue to do additional add more of these into our schedules. So we just finished our first series, and it was really focused on table merging and aggregate counts, sorting, renaming variables, just standard data transformation stuff that you might see in your day-to-day working with a Spark data frame. We broke it up into 3 different sessions. One that focused primarily on solutions that were restrained to using just Spark SQL, so your standard SQL syntax. Another that focused on using PySpark, so those who wanted to challenge themselves a bit more or were more interested in using that. And then a third that focused on using Sparkly R. And these I've highlighted, they're hyperlinked here to the original session recordings. The recordings, of course, are not the entire conversation. What they are is usually the first 5 minutes of an introduction about what the question is and how we're, working, like logistics of the session. And then the final 10, 15 minutes when we go over some of the solutions. And then the final solutions are also provided to everybody to study up and verify on their own. How did we do? But yeah, we understand that this has been a very difficult struggle for many of us. And we're trying to make it as easy as possible and give you some of that, some of the, time with the one-on-one or, 1 to 5 with our staff members, but also getting to know some of your other colleagues and potentially be able to work through some of these issues together. So I just thought that since this is a new topic that we had just went through, I would kind of give us a demo of what would one of these courses typically be like. Usually these past ones were presented by my teammates, Oren, Katie, and Tim, who did a great job. I'm not as good as they are, but this is what we're getting in a town hall. So again, this series 1 demo was focusing on the table merging, aggregate counts, sorting, renaming variables. And the idea was here's the question. It's compute the min, mean, max, and standard deviation of salaries among employees in each department, as well as the number of employees in each department. Make sure that your resulting column names are presentation ready. So using white spaces instead of like underscores. And the results should be sorted by department name and dollar amount and should be rounded to the nearest penny. So how do we normally break this up? So a common conversation that people may have is, well, all right, what do we start with? Where are we trying to go? How might we design this solution? So one of the options for designing the solution is looking at the requirements is that, we need the min, mean, max standard deviation of the salary. So we'll need the column name of salary, and that's in this one table, interactive session 1, employees table. All right, what about, we need to calculate the number of employees. So we'll need to know the number, like the employee IDs. We'll use that as a unique identifier and count the total number of employees, which is in this other table, same table, interactive session 1, employees. We'll need the department ID from here, as well as the department ID from the second table of interactive session 1 departments, so that we can join the tables together. And then we'll do the department. We need the department names as well. And that's also on that second table of interactive session 1 departments. So, and then finally, we'll need to sort it and round to the nearest penny. What I've done here is kind of walk through a solution, and so like in Spark SQL, when we discussed it in Spark SQL, this particular question, now granted, this was one of 6 questions that people worked on, but I also want to show the contrast in how we're gearing the conversations and how you would work with this if you're dealing with Spark SQL versus PySpark versus Sparkly R. So in this particular case, we can't really do a full interactive thing, but we would allow people time to kind of go through their own musings, talk amongst each other. If you have questions related to a particular topic, we have breakout rooms that we can have a staff member go into there and break down everything you could possibly want to know about Windows functions or about aggregate functions. In this particular case here, the solution we came up with for this was because we didn't need to create a table for it, so we just did the select distinct, and we're using the function of count, rounding based on the mean value, a minimum, maximum values, rounding for the standard deviations. You notice the backtick is being used so that you can include the white space in your title name of your variables. This was performed using an inner join. And we did our group bys and ordered it by department name. For those of us who have been working in SQL for a little while, it's not a big surprise how this all was worked out. But it is nice to have the expertise there just in case. There was one particular problem in that problem set that our staff member found something as the most convoluted problem you could possibly deal with, and I think it was going to take hours to write it out, or I don't remember how it went. But you can feel free to look at that. I think that was question 7 or 8, like the final question for SQL. And it really relied on the only way to really answer it was using PySpark. So that lends us into, why do we have multiple sessions? It's not that we want people to be stagnant at just understanding SQL. A lot of people coming from SAS are familiar with proc SQL. And so, yeah, they can make things work that way. But what if you're trying to learn to do other things that SQL just doesn't do? And that's where we can deal with PySpark. It's a different beast in how we use it. So again, in this particular option, we're following a similar solution design where we're importing the necessary PySpark functions, and then we're loading the tables into Spark data frames, and then we'll join the Spark data frames, and then we'll use dot notation to be able to extend out our definitions and create all of our new variables. So I hope people can see this, actually, as I'm just now realizing people might be as blind as me. So in this particular case, yeah, so the SQL functions that we needed to import were column, mean, round, count, min, max, standard deviation. We did a select all to create a Spark data frame of employees as well as departments. And then we did our join. So this is, a join, a left join in this particular case on department ID. It's different when you're trying to do it in PySpark. So this gave people a chance to go to the documentation, ask some questions, troubleshoot it themselves, but also, again, know that you do have that kind of lifeguard on premises to help you not just get the answer, but understand how to get to that point. And then finally, we used just a display and using the group by department ID and the department name, aliasing, using aliases so that in this particular case, we can get the white space through the aliases, and dropping, one of the extra department IDs. Like it just wasn't necessary. In fact, I dropped, I dropped department ID completely because all I needed was the name, employee count, average salary, minimum, max, and standard deviation of the salaries. This brings me to the final one, which was in our solutions using R. So this was a little bit different, a similar design pattern, right? We got to load in our content. We had to initiate a Spark context because this is a unique component feature of working with Sparkly R. But then you load the data into your Sparkly R data frames, do a left join, define your computations, and then define your sorting variables. So here we used the tidyverse and then Sparkly R. For those of you who aren't familiar, it is important that you do it in this particular order because there are masking effects in here. So you want to make sure you load tidyverse before you load Sparkly R. You have to initiate a Spark context, and then the rest of it, probably, if you're familiar with R, it looks somewhat familiar. You're using this. I don't know what the official thing is here, what the official acronym is, but I just imagine it as Spark data frame using SQL. And it creates a Spark data frame with in Sparkly R here. So you create these, then you've got because we're using the tidyverse, we can use this piping process here and implement our left join, a grouping by a summarized statement, and the backticks are essential for implementing the white space there. Pipe again. One thing we are learning, of course, is that because you can pipe many things when you're doing or string together a lot of work in Sparkly R, the best thing to do when you after you've grouped something and you've completed the calculation that was required with that group is to do an ungroup. So although it's not necessary, this was just a best practice. And then arrange is the function for sorting. And then we display it. So if you were to compare all of our outputs together to each other, they should all look the same. But these were kind of the things that those people who signed up and were able to participate were able to work through this, plus 5 or 6 other questions depending upon the session. I'm going to take this opportunity to just do a quick review of some of our current training offerings. So many people may be familiar with the office hours. I think in retrospect, it may be a bit of a misnomer because it is really a lecture format presentation that focuses primarily on foundational theory, supplemented with code examples, and lasts about 60 minutes. We've implemented lunch and learn sessions, which are considered kind of bite-sized 25-minute sessions. Again, these will also be more lecture format, but they can be both theory or applied. We have been focusing more on applied work recently. Interactive sessions, like what we just discussed here, are code-driven working sessions where discussion is highly encouraged and driven by participants. It can be as quiet of a session as you want, but it can also be as vibrant as you wish to make it. And then this past week, we just had our first Q&A session. Those are periodically available so that we discuss. Like it's a discussion to address pre-solicited questions. So it's not Q&A in like an active sense, but it's something we've been able to prepare a discussion about, so you can have solid content to refer to and have your answers all questioned. For all of these, although I say many of these are lecture format, the chats are always open within the within the Zoom presentations, and any questions that we receive within those Zooms will be responded to. Either if there's not time at the end of a session, we will respond and post it with the recordings of our content, as well as the notebooks. So, you know, we understand that learning to code requires opportunities to make mistakes and opportunities to just practice and to apply the theory, you know, that you've learned from our other content. And so, you know, we look at this as an opportunity for you to also verify your own understanding and make mistakes in a supportive environment and amongst the rest of us who have probably made the exact same mistakes at one point or another. Thank you for giving me this time to share. We have, so I'll take one last second. We have all these current trainings and offerings. We submit the, you know, we have the recordings on portal, but also we do want to get the most out of, you know, attendance and our user base. So if you have any questions, concerns, you know, content suggestions, if you're having problems with like the time or the hour just isn't working for you, typically we're doing most of these on Wednesday midday or Wednesday afternoon. Let us know. And we will do our best to accommodate everybody else in our user base. I mean, that's what we're here for. We are here to help you guys succeed in your code work. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, so I will bring my screen back up here. Okay. So at this point, we do only have 5 more minutes, and I believe all of our questions have been answered in the chat, outside of the fact that I saw a couple of users are having issues accessing portal. And Dan, would you mind just, I believe that would be a help desk ticket. Is that correct if they're having trouble?
Yeah, you can just put it on the CCSQ, on the SOS channel
Okay.
on Slack.
Okay. And then I just saw that Derek, sorry, I've been also just capturing all of these responses so we have them then. So I just want to make sure I have this follow-up one. Okay, so at that point though, I think that all of our Q&A have been answered outside of that. Thank you so much to our community who are involved in asking all of these great questions, and to the team for both the presentations and for diligently keeping track of our chat to make sure those questions get answered. As I mentioned, all materials, including the recording, the Q&A, will be published to the CCSQ DNA portals, to keep an eye out on that. And then I saw Laura, she just posted, I think there were 2 separate people who mentioned having issues with accessing portal today. Laura did just put in directions in the chat where you can go for that. So I am just following up and making note of that as well. So keep an eye out in the chat there if you are one of them. So with that, we have, like I said, today's meeting materials will be made available soon. Upcoming events, we have a maintenance event February 7th at 8 p.m. And then our next town hall will be February 26th. And in between there, our next newsletter will be distributed as well. So keep an eye out for that. And in the meantime, if you do have any questions or issues, please contact us via email or Slack. Thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate both our presenters and our community for your participation and your input. Have a great day, everyone.